Hey guys, Josh Koerner here. Hope you've been having a great day today. I'd love to chat with you for just a minute about what we've seen out of some major manufacturers this month so far. So there's been the EOS R, there's been the X-T3, the Z6, the Z7 from Nikon. The last 28 days, it's been crazy what we've seen enter the space. The Nikons in particular, especially the Z6 in my opinion, is fantastic camera. Looks like these are really going to be impactful because the Nikons in particular are very mature products for being first generation products. 10-bit, 422, full frame, out over HDMI. Internal 8-bit, understandable. What that means is that the sensor is reading it at 10-bit and then compressing down to 8-bit, and that's why you can do that out. That's why Sony's, like the A7 III for example, can only output 8-bit 422 because it's only ever reading in 8-bit in the first place for video. Although the battery life on the Canon and the Nikon, the EOS R and the Z6, Z7 doesn't look to be fantastic, there are other elements that really bring a lot of value to the table. The fact that what we are seeing out of Canon is a mirrorless 5D Mark IV with a few lesser specs in terms of frame rate and a few other things, it's still a really compelling camera. It's a $2,300 version of a $3,400 camera. That's not so bad. Now I know that that's MSRP at launch for the 5D Mark IV, but I think that what we're seeing out of Canon is genuine effort, if not always on point, to occupy the mirrorless space. And what Canon has done a fantastic job at with their release is the lenses. The 28 to 70 f2 is imagination capturing. Right? The 35 f1.8, probably a great lens, not really special. It's a 1:2 macro ratio, who cares? Not a big deal. 50 f1.2, really cool, really big and heavy and expensive. I mean, it doesn't really capture the imagination as much as it provides a bar that you want to eventually be able to reach. 24 to 105 f4L IS, very, very common lens that we're seeing in the DSLR space that I think Canon was very wise to put into the mirrorless space right off the bat. They're gonna sell so many of those, it's crazy. Canon spent a lot of time and effort on their lenses. Nikon spent a ton of effort on the bodies, and the lenses that they released, the 50 f1.8, 35 f1.8, 24 to 70 f4, not really compelling options. I think that the big difference here though is that the Nikon has IBIS and such a short flange distance you can adapt just about anything, although they are making it difficult not providing those specs to third-party manufacturers. That's a huge whiff. That, in addition to Nikon's consistent inability to deliver product, they're already back-ordered on Z6s, Z7s. They're already back-ordered on P1000s. They've been back-ordered for a year on D850s. It's not very confidence-inducing. I don't really think that Nikon can sustain this much longer without really damaging their brand equity to a point where there's no coming back. And because of that, I would highly recommend against the Nikons, not because of anything that they are or their lens systems are or are not, but because of Nikon's consistent inability to deliver the products that they're trying to bring to market. In that way, I feel like the EOS R is a fantastically, phenomenally better camera. But then there's the X-T3. The X-T3, smaller sensor size, but 10-bit internal video. Big deal, that one. Fantastic, well fleshed out lens lineup that's actually not poorly priced. That's another really big deal. The feature set, 30 frames per second, lots of great options with the shutter. You can have to press and it'll capture a second before and after if you set it up that way. Maybe not literally, but that's a thing that so far we've really only seen on like Red cinema cameras, right? Where it can pre-record and dump the footage onto your card when you tell it you want to. And some very big name photographers have used Red cinema cameras because they have that functionality to capture that moment just as it's already passed. So cool. Again, the 30 frames per second with a very small crop, 1.18 times crop. The 4K 60p, wow, on this APS-C sensor, huge deal, 400 megabits internal, no need for the battery grip, for the boost mode. We're seeing everything that, in my opinion, you could want out of an APS-C camera, except for that extra 2, in the X-T3. For still shooters, it checks all the boxes. For video shooters, it checks damn near all the boxes. The issue with the EOS R and the X-T3 is lack of IBIS. Canon has consistently used electronic image stabilization. I don't like that option. I think it's really poor. I think it looks bad, and the extra crop just is not very good. But Canon's video of late has not been very good in a number of ways, notably the crop, but also specifically here, this is a huge thing that bothers me, it's not sharp. The way that Sony's, like my A7 III and my Alpha 6300, do 4K is they oversample and then give you the result. So there's no pixel binning, there's no line skipping, it's reading everything. Canon is willing to let it be a soft image because they're saying, okay, we're gonna reserve some of this firmware, some of this software for our higher end stuff because it probably costs more to create in the first place. But it's a holding of a punch, right? It's a punch that is held that is not very good to do. While there is a flip out screen with great touch functionality, I feel like Fuji's kind of walked into that space and done something very similar. And arguably Fuji's colors are better than even Canon's. So I feel like the X-T3 is a significant challenge to the very widely spoken about EOS R, just because it delivers a little bit better on everything that it does than what the Canon's doing. 30 frames per second on the X-T3, 3 with good tracking, and this is with full tracking. 3 with full tracking on the EOS R, 5 with moderate tracking, 4K 60, very small crop, 4K 30 no crop. Now that is a 1.5x crop, but on the Canon you're getting 1.7. So all those things are a really big deal. I think that what we really have to be hoping for is, a great Panasonic full frame camera. That would be really interesting. I'm very interested to hear what you think the lens mount for that's going to be. I'm very interested in the way that Sony responds too, because the a7S III isn't going to be a response to the EOS R to the Z6 or the Z7. It's a video-centric camera. It's not a general purpose stills and video camera. It's not a hybrid the same way that the a7 III is, or even the a7R III. So watching Sony is going to be really interesting. Watching Sony react to the X-T3 over the next couple of years is going to be very interesting, because Fuji can just take that and drop it into the XH1 body with IBIS, and then Bob's your uncle. There you go. I feel like the way that this is all working out is so great for us consumers. I feel like the camera world right now is fantastic, and I'm so excited to be a part of it and to be a cogent user and follower of this marketplace, because it's so cool and I'm so excited. I'm very, very interested in what you have to say about each of these 3 cameras in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention. I'd love it if you would check out my affiliate links if you're interested in the gear that I use to make this video. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. You know the drill. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one.